First, I would like to just give an overview of what we did and what the scenario looked like. Some topics I would like to highlight during this demo. The reason why we created it, the scenario we wanted to support something regarding the scalability, security, and of course the AI power we used to create this solution. Something about the architecture, and of course a demo about what it looks like for an end user. So the occasion we created the solution was because of the hack together from the powerful Devs, which took place back in February this year. And the challenge was to discover what we could do using AI and Copilot, helping us both developing the app, but also create benefits for the end user. I will do this demo by myself, but back in the Netherlands, we do have a team at Bliss Digital, which created with the three of us together this solution. So I really wanted to mention them as well. So we as a team created a solution in which we wanted to, in the real life, we meet people who are struggling archiving or managing their life cycle from their SharePoint sites. And some archivist needs to kind of quickly evaluate what they need to do for a SharePoint site. Of course, we can think of other ways like retention policies, but okay, in a lot of scenarios, organizations didn't have that in place, and still they want to have the life cycle in a proper way. And our guys, most of the time they're not involved in, like, for example, a project which took place on the SharePoint site, and still they need to kind of evaluate what they need to do with that information stored on that site. And that's what we wanted to streamline and make it, of course, AI powered for them to make it easy to see a summary, to analyze kind of the sentiments and decide on how to move on with the life cycle of the SharePoint site. So what was the actual reason? So we really wanted to support the archivists and the SharePoint administrators who struggle with the daily work, and help them with the unclear ownership. And it's a time-consuming task they need to do, and most of the time it isn't their highest priority to do, but it still needs to be done. And we want to help them with the decision making and streamline the process, so it is a clear process in place for that part. And not only for the administrators, it's a good process. You do also have some management information available and have better insights on what happened on your tenant. And I really wanted to be sure that the demo just worked properly, so I did do a recording. Over here we see the Power App which we created, and it's loading the data from all the SharePoint sites that are available on this tenant. And you can see, like, there are different kind of statuses. And in this example, we are going to take a look at the project email archiving SharePoint site and see some details, like we still need to start the process for this site. It hasn't been archived yet, and we didn't do anything with it. And we do have some metadata available from the SharePoint site, like when the last modified date and something regarding the amount of documents, etc. And then we can start an AI assessment, which turning on the background, there needs to be created a summary from all the information on the SharePoint site and from the most important documents, also the sources mentioned. And we also want to have kind of a sentiment around the summary that is created, so we get a clear overview what's done on the site. And when it's not clear yet, we do have an extra button to chat with the agent. So live on the SharePoint agent is provisioned to the site, and then you are able to kind of have a more deep dive without reading all the documents that are on the SharePoint site. You can ask questions, and in this case, we just started with the basic starter questions, conversation starters. But while provisioning a SharePoint agent, we can also tweak the conversation starters to set and tweak the questions we would like to start a conversation with, or you can ask just your own questions specifically for this type of, in this case, a project you want to evaluate. So you still have the overview of what's available on the SharePoint site itself. And then when you finished like your advice, you can select what you would like to do with the site. And for this example, we choose delete after 5 years. And then we can also, when you're not sure it's your advice, but you would like to have a second opinion, you can think about an approval process. So you can ask or double check with a colleague. And in the above part of the screen, you can see like the progress of the archiving of this site specific. And in the background, you can think of setting up like retention policies in the background, so you can do it afterwards using this process. So that's what an end user, an administrator, etc., can use to manage the life cycle. So let's go back to the presentation mode. So to be clear for what we used AI part for, we did use the AI search part, so we could create the summary for the SharePoint site. So we could index what's on the site. And for the chat agent, we did an on-demand SharePoint agent, so it wasn't there by default on all the sites. But when the administrator would like to have that agent, it's provisioned at the moment they click on the button. And we added just more for the fun part, the sentiment analyzer. So we also use the Dataverse AI function out of the box, so we can have a little bit of a sentiment. But the most important part is like more like the summary of the site, what's happened over there. And a challenge for the administrator is to think also regarding a good system prompt. What would I like to know about the content that's available on the SharePoint site? How I can decide on what I want to do with the site. So here is an overview of the architecture. It's maybe it looks a bit impressive, but it's quite easy to explain when you know the part of the Power Platform artifacts. Like we can see the Power App, which we just saw in the demo, and there it's a flow which can create the SharePoint agent, and of course all the information is stored into Dataverse, and the AI search part is used to index the information on what's on the SharePoint site and to get the content back to get a summary. That's what the initial architecture looks like, but we are really looking forward to a new architecture, and that we are really looking forward to a roadmap feature that's still in development, unfortunately. But that would make the architecture way easier. Then we can just use AI Foundry to have access to the SharePoint data, and then send a request and get a response instead of setting up the AI search and blob storage part. But back in February, that roadmap feature was in development, so we couldn't use that then. And I just double-checked it this weekend, and it's unfortunately still in development. But that's I'm really looking forward to that feature to really improve this solution as well. It's this just for documentation reasons I added a slide about the roadmap feature I'm mentioning. And one of the challenges in the hackathon was to think about the scalability and, of course, security. This setup makes it really scalable regarding the SharePoint, the number of SharePoint sites. It doesn't matter how many sites you have. It doesn't matter the amount of content you have on your SharePoint site. And because we just provision the SharePoint agent on demand, it doesn't matter how many you would like to create. And of course, we took a look at the security part, and based on the user authentication, but we did take the admin perspective. You can see what you're allowed to see, but because it's used by administrators, they're allowed to see a lot of information. And because of the automated process, you can create an approval, and call it a second opinion can be implemented as well. For the background information, I added some links to the resources. The app and some flows are available on GitHub. You feel free to use. There are also some explanations regarding the solution over there, both the setup in general and specifically the how to provision the SharePoint agent is fully written, so you can use it yourself on your own tenant. And yeah, I wanted to mention it. We are Microsoft created a case based on this solution, which made us proud that they did. And I wanted to share that here, and you can read it to have some background information about the solution. And it's always good to create things in line with the mission, and we're probably all familiar with the mission that that Microsoft wants to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And we wanted to have to align with the updated version, so we are the agent company, and so we created agents. So we believe in the future where there will be an agent for everyone, and in this case, everything we do, also archiving SharePoint sites. Thanks for your attention, and feel free to ask questions maybe afterwards or reach out to me via LinkedIn.